All right, so this is a video to help you get going on the career research paper. Most of the details for this are going to be found on our class homepage. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom in the activities section, there'll be research project links, and the scoring guide is here. My example long paper is here, a link to citation machine, and then these first few days, what sites that you might need are listed here. And you can always add additional sites too, but these are just good suggestions. So the scoring guide is listed here. So you'll want to take time this first day of work by video and make sure that everything is set up properly. So proper page setup, you should have used my template, which has your last name and page number in the header to the right. So you'll want to double click and make sure that you've updated this to have just your last name and a space bar, and then leave the number alone. As you scroll through, it'll have a 2 on page 2 and a 3 on page 3. Be sure your first and last name are here. Leave my name, leave the class name, and change the date. Your title will probably be the same as my title was in the example, but you could come up with a different title. That would be totally fine. All right, once you've got that taken care of, you're going to make sure that you have headings for each section, and those headings are aligned to the left and bold, so they're not going to be tabbed. And then here's the list of those required headings. So I would at this time go ahead and put in those requirements. So you want them to be bold, so career assessments, and then you'll have paragraph, well, you'll have more than one paragraph, but you'll have information for that, career path, career summary, other career interests, and my rationale and career plan. Those are the ones that are listed. There's also, let's see if I got them all, career assessments, career path, career summary, other career interests, my rationale. Yeah, so that's the 5. There are also subheadings underneath career summary. So if you've looked at the example document, and I'll pull it up again, you'll see that in that big long section where you're really looking at your career, there are some subheadings, and they are not set up exactly like the other sections. So when I get here to career summary, which is here on this page, and you scroll down, there's like an introduction to the career summary, and then it says salary and benefits, and that's bold. But notice it's tabbed over, and this paragraph is about that. And then there's tabbed over job skills qualities, and a paragraph or so about that. This one I have several paragraphs. Challenges, education training, job outlook. So there's all of those sections. So those little subheading sections also need to be added in, and they're going to be under career summary. So you'll have the first one, so like you'll have sentences or paragraphs or whatever here, and then you'll tab over and you'll have the first one, which I think was salary and benefits or something like that. And you just put a period, and then you would start typing the information, and this is going to be bold. So it will be to your benefit to go ahead and put in all of your subheadings just so you have everything all set up and ready to roll. All right, and then of course, that's just all set up basically. So that's like nearly 50 points of just making sure everything's set up properly. Quality information and use of applicable research are going to make sure that you use research throughout, and that research has to involve Mla Parenthetical Citation. That's where anything that didn't come from your brain has to be referenced. There's going to be paragraph, or there's going to be parentheses at the end, the author's name, and then if it was a printed book, you would have the page number, but with internet resources, we usually just omit that number. You'll have a works cited page, which we started already together. You may have to put them in a different order than they're listed if you've already started those, but they do go alphabetical by whatever that first word is. In most of this paper, you can talk in first person, but not in the career summary section. That's going to be the longest part, and that's all research-based. So don't use I or my or any of that in that section. And then, of course, spelling and grammar, which is a lot of the grade, and using an intellectual writing style, so no negative speak. It needs to make sense, you know, all those sorts of things. And then, of course, turning it in by due date, it will be considered 10 points per day late. And will not be accepted more than 5 days late, because that would be the end of the term. So we've already set up most of this stuff, but let's go ahead and look back at the home page. There's your citation machine, and here's your Myers-Briggs, 2 websites for Myers-Briggs. Again, you can look up other articles. You don't have to use these. But the other day in class, what we should have done is started the process for your result analysis based on your Myers-Briggs results. So under career assessments, you would write something about that. I'm just going to add in a sentence down here, but let's say that you know your type. So let me go back here and click on one of these so that we have it open. I might have one open actually. Here we go. Let's say that you know that you are an INTJ, introverted, intuition, thinking, judging. That's what those letters stand for. And you wouldn't have known that off at the top of your head. So if you're going to list that information, which you should, you're going to talk about it here in one of your sentences under career assessments. So you would say like my personality type, according to the Myers-Briggs assessment or whatever, is INTJ. Those letters stand for, and then you would list them like intuition and whatever they were. Actually, it's introvert, but anyway, so you would la, 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 la. Okay, and then at the end of the sentence, you're going to have parentheses, and inside here would be the author's last name. And then after the parentheses were over, there would be a period. So right in here, before you do that, you've got to make sure that you add this to your reference page. So if I'm going to go to this website, which is this human metrics one, then we can go ahead and take this information and paste it into Cite This For Me or Citation Machine. So I'm on MLA, it's a website. I'm going to put it in here. And we've done this before, but just to kind of help you. There's the site, so I'm going to select it. It found some citation data, so it has the URL, it has the website title, it has the date. It can't find the title of the article or the publisher or the date published. So I'm going to click Final Step to go to the page where I have to add in anything that it could not find. Okay, so then at this point in here, we would put in the article title. And when you're doing those, article titles, just whatever your biggest heading is on the page. Personality type explained. So I would type that in there. Personality type explained, and then my contributor if it has an author. It may not, it may just have a publisher. I don't see anybody's name up here at the top, so I'm going to come down to the bottom of the page and look for whoever this is put out by. Well, it's put out by Human Metrics, so that's like the company, the author, publisher, whatever you want to call that. So I'm going to go ahead and pop back into here and put in Human Metrics Incorporated, because that's what that said, like so. Okay, so now we've got the information that we don't have an author, we only have a publisher, so it is what it is. Electronically published, we don't know. I didn't see a date on it. If there was a date on it, some articles, like articles where, like if you're in Google News or whatever, those are going to have probably dates on them. This one does not, so we omit that date as well. So you fill in the information that you have and double check the information they put in there and then hit Create Citation. At that point, it's going to give you your citation. Here it is. I'm going to copy this. Oh, there's a copy button. And then I'm going to go to my reference page at the end, my works cited. And we already have one from the other day, but I'm going to add this to it. And I'm going to list it. Now, these need to be alphabetical. And if we looked at that, it started with P. You're supposed to ignore the word the or a or an. So this starts with a number. Numbers are before every letter of the alphabet, so that's just going to stay there. And then I can go ahead and paste without formatting in here, and I put this one in. So it says personality type explained, and then it's got it all in here. And that's how that goes. Now, in order to cite this source, I would use whatever the first thing is. So in this case, it's personality type explained in quotation marks. So in that sentence that I was just talking about, I would put the name of that article, personality type explained, just like that. And that's what will go in those parentheses. Okay, and then typically you want to go find more information about that. So once it talks about INTJ, then I want to go look at another website and learn more about that specific one. And again, I gave you links to the 16 personalities, which is the one that we looked at whenever you looked at your results that first day. So if I was an INTJ, I would click on the one that goes there, and then I can deal with these and get information from this. So I would say, if I'm looking here and trying to find what things about this seem like they're me, That sounds a little bit, bold, that I'm brilliant and confident. I don't know about that, but anyway, so you can go through here and try to find what works for you. Now, there's one called Career Paths on this one, so if you click on Career Paths, it gives you a better idea of something that's going to be a little more relevant to what we're doing on this project. So just kind of go through, you look through those, you kind of see what looks like you. This one says like vision, creativity, and competence make them viable in just about any career that requires them to think about what they're doing. Some careers don't play to their strengths, but they're about a niche about anywhere. So, okay, so basically they can do anything, right? While they don't care for the spotlight, they do enjoy controlling their ideas. So you read through here and you find some information that seems relevant to you. So I would come back then to my paper and I would say, typically people with the INTJ personality type enjoy careers where they, and then talk a little bit about some of those things I just read in the paragraph. Okay, la, 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 la. And then we got parentheses have to happen again at the end. And that particular website, I would have to then add to my Works Cited page. Oops, I've lost where it is because I have so many tabs open, as we all know I'm so good at. But I would have to add this one in here. So I would take this and I would go back through that whole process. Now, I already have the 16 personalities one added to mine, I think, already on my page. Oh, no, I don't. So I would have to add that page in here. And then again, once you've added it in there, you got to put that information in parentheses. So if it had an author, it'd be the author's last name. If it doesn't, it would be the name of the article. I'm just going to put article because I don't know. And I'm not going to make you watch me fill out the form again. And you just kind of go from there. Talk about your personality type, what kind of careers it says that personality type might enjoy. You could even talk about, famous people who have that personality type if you wanted to. That's kind of up to you. Now, once you've finished talking about that one, I want you to include one more of the assessments that we've done in class. And I don't really care which one, but probably the one that's most fresh on your mind is the DISC, the DISC. You should have results that you pasted into your Google Doc for this one. So if you click on this, and this will give you another website you can use. And this one actually has a date, and it actually has an author, and then here's your title. So you would add all this into your Works Cited. And then you can see what your highest percentage was. So if you came in as dominance, the leader, that's where your highest percentage was. Here's some information that you could talk here. So when I come back to my paper, I would start a new paragraph and then say, another career assessment I took was the DISC. And then you might read that article and see a little bit more about what is the DISC, and then talk about what your results were. According to my results, I am a dominant personality. This means that da, 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 da. Now, that's going to be from the article. So again, parentheses happen here, and that's going to be that information for my Works Cited page. So I would go back in there and talk about some of this, and then at the end of that sentence, that's going to have my author, which is Frierson, Frierson. That's what's going to go there. And then take the time right now, don't wait, and put it in your Works Cited page. So you immediately want to go ahead and drop it into that Works Cited page. And that's basically the process to continue on through here. So for that first section, you're going to talk about 2 career assessments, the Myers-Briggs and the DISC, or one of the others that we did. We did several others in the class as well. When you get into the career path, so that's going to be the next section, career path. At that point, let's go back to the example paper so you can see, here it is, you can see what this information would be. Let me get mine scooted all the way back up here for you. Okay, so career assessments, career path. So now you're going to talk about where specifically this job, and again, at the end of your assessments, you're going to sum it all up, okay? And say that based on those assessments and looking at the results and reading the information, you've decided that you are going to research blank. And you already decided that because we decided that back whenever we did a previous project. So that's going to end with that. And then we're going to come into career path, and you're going to look and see what career cluster that this falls under. So there's the National Career Clusters Framework, which is what you're going to look up. This will just be a simple paragraph that talks about what career cluster that it's in. So again, I'll probably go ahead and add this to your page so you don't have to go hunt for it. But here's your career clusters. You can look in here and under which one that yours, shows up in. So if mine's, if I'm a police officer, then it's going to be under corrections and security. It's this one. And so then you would indicate that it's this particular page. You'll talk a little bit about that pathway. And there's a lot of different websites where you can get your career clusters. But you got to tell which career cluster it is, what career path it's in. And again, there's plenty of places to look that up online. So you'll probably only really have one main source in the career pathway one. You may also, and we used this one before, the ONET website, this one, that we used whenever we were looking at these interests. You might remember we did the interest profiler. And again, you could use this one as your second survey one too, because you have the results from this one too. So when you get in there and say, I click on my enterprising career and my career is a model or whatever, when I click on there, then you've got all this information that we've looked at before. You should be able to locate your career path in here somewhere. It should indicate that somewhere on this page. But you can find your career path in there, reference that from here, and then go look it up in the career clusters document to get some more information about it. But that's basically that. Once you get through that section about career path, and again, we'll go back to the example one, then you start the career summary, and that career summary is going to be your longest part. Okay, your career summary, you're going to talk about a typical day in the job, what do they do, and you're going to have to go find some articles about that part. But I will pick up with you in that part in video 2. So kind of your charge at this point is to take care of finishing up your assessments, getting everything set up, and then looking up that career path. And I'll add another link to a website to help you look up those career paths a little more easily for that part. And then being sure that you're adding all those things into your works cited. So that should get you started on the first 2 days.